my father was worthless. I'm here to talk about my dad, Gary Davis. He was a wonderful man to me. He fought for custody of my sister and myself. We went to Stanley Park. He got his dream job as a letter carrier for the Canadian Post. He was just the man that brought joy to my life. I loved being around him. It was the best thing, growing up, to see my dad smile and listen to him talk, and where he came up with the name Rita from my name. I truly miss him. April 14, 2006. My father was in a care home. They didn't know what was wrong with him, but they took him to Langley Hospital, dropped him off. I got a call from the emergency doctor to tell me that, was your dad in a car accident? And I go, no, you got to come and see him right away. And I did. When I got there, they had his stomach opened, and they didn't know at the time what was wrong with him. He had an aneurysm in his groin. By the time I got to the hospital, they sewed him back up, found out there was aneurysm in his groin, took him to the Royal Clement Hospital. While there, they fixed him up, but he was in a lot of sores, and then they took him to Langley Hospital to be closer to me. While there, I discovered that he had bed sores on his back that went right down to his spine. But at the time, I didn't know. I would go to visit him, and he would be with other 4 people, and they would patients, and they would be getting changed, and the smell was always there. Then they finally put him in a room of his own, and I said, "Why is he smelling?" And they go, "Don't you know he has a bed sore?" And I go, "No." And I said, get him up more, do more things with him. But instead of helping him, they put him into long-term care. And then I went to go visit him the next day, and his hands were shaking. And I asked, "Why is this hand shaking?" "Well, we don't know." So they took him to emergency, and from there they found out that he had gone into septic shock with the bed sores that were black, right down to his spine. A wound care nurse came in and said, "Oh, I know your dad really well. He needs to get help. What they've done to him is awful. Get a lawyer." That's hard to do in this case. I worked on that, and after Dad getting help for his wound, they said either we do the surgery or he'll die. My dad reached out and said, "Do the surgery." And so we got his back fixed up. He was put back into long-term care. While there, he developed bed sores on his legs, and the nurses kept insisted that he needed to be amputated. Dad didn't want them amputated. One day we walked in. My kids were small at the time. The nurse was changing him. My dad was screaming. And the nurse left. And my dad whisked me over to say, "Rita, look at that nurse. That nurse is too rough with me." And after that, we learned that, according to the health officials, that he didn't get enough medication that day. But my dad's only cried 2 times in his life. One was that day, getting changed. He was severely treated rough. And the next day is when I found him emergency yet again from his groin wound. And he cried for help, for justice, and nothing seemed to help. He eventually had to get his legs amputated because of the lack of care. At the end of all this horrific abuse, I told Dad that I was going on an anniversary vacation with my husband and my family. He said, "You earned it, go." I was only gone a couple of weeks, and I got a phone call saying that Dad had passed. When I came back to see the hospital, see the care home that he was in, the nurse said, "Yeah, your dad died from pneumonia, but 3 other people in the room also passed away from pneumonia, but it was the worst heat wave. They didn't have air conditioning, and they were dropping like flies, according to the nurse. I went to lawyers to get help. There's no law to protect this. The hospitals can get away with this. The government is complicit in helping the abuse of the neglect of this law. It's just wrong what's happening to all our seniors in care homes. This wasn't COVID-19 then, but it's still happening. The abuse is still there. What my dad went through, the loss of his legs, the bed sores onto his spine, neglected with starvation, the operations, the countless hours of crying for help, both from the government and from the health facilities. They said that he had complex health issues, but it was made by them.
Learn more and donate to support the cause at intheirname.ca.